Hello, 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 hello. Hi, this is Sarah once again, and you're watching the Words of Wisdom Forum. So I am both on Instagram and on Facebook. So on Facebook is the Words of Wisdom Marriage and Relationship, and on Instagram it's Sarah Amafo. I'm so sorry, Kwesi. Hi, Kwesi. I'm so sorry I am late. I was supposed to come at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, but as I posted on Facebook, I had to do some wifely motherly duties, so that's why I didn't come on time. But today we are continuing our series on marriage abroad, abroche aware. And I think I've done about 2 or 3 videos. Hi, Christine. Hi, the first person on Facebook. Can you say hi and tell us where you're watching from? Please say hi and tell us where you're watching from, okay? Because we have a lot of people watching from all over the world, especially on Facebook. So just say hi and tell us where you're watching from. Thank you. We'll continue our series on marriage abroad, Abrochia Awari. And today I'm focusing on the stress. Hi, it's where are you watching from? Kindly tell us. And tell us the time at your place too. I would appreciate that. So we are looking at obtaining the difficulty in obtaining papers when you travel, the difficulties of obtaining papers as an immigrant, and how that affects a lot of marriages. We're looking at the stress involved in obtaining documents outside when you want to live outside. I've been saying in my videos, I've been living in Canada for the past 6 years. And I'm also going to share a little bit of how I got my papers and everything, the stress we all went through, and then tell you what people are actually going through living abroad. I'm just doing this video so that if you're living outside, let's say if you're living in your home country in Ghana, Nigeria, hi, the other person that joined on Facebook. Oh, it is watching from Sierra Leone. Wow. Please share the videos. Share the videos. Share the videos. Thank you so much. The name is It's by Anne Berry. She's watching from Sierra Leone. Thank you so much. Kindly share the videos. So why am I doing this video today? I'm doing it because I just want those who are not living outside not to so much envy those who live like in abroad. That's the whole purpose. And also to help spouses, like if one spouse is living outside and the other one is living in the home country, help you cope with the situation because it's not easy. I said in my previous videos that people like getting the opportunity to travel outside is great, but when it comes to relationship and marriages, this can be the end of your marriage or the end of your relationship. So it's very, very important how you handle the situation when one partner travels outside or even when both of you travel outside. So I've always been saying it before. I came to Canada by the grace of God through school. I came to do my master's program and I was fortunate enough to come in with my spouse and my little baby. She was just 3 months old. I was very fortunate. We all flew in together. It was such a blessing. Okay. That has been my story. But then when we came, so I'm going to say a little bit of like the papers we got because I get a lot of people asking, how did you two, all of you travel and all that? I'm just going to say a little bit about that and then I'll go into today's topic. So when I applied for a student permit, so if you are traveling to Canada, you get the opportunity. If you are coming as a student, you have the opportunity to apply for your spouse. Okay, your spouse can apply for open work permit and your children can apply for visitors visa. So I got the opportunity. I read online and I knew this is what, hey, Lizzie, my sister has joined on Instagram. Hi. So I'm saying a little bit of my story, and then we jump into the difficulties, the stress involved in obtaining papers. So I got a student visa. My husband applied for open work permit and my daughter, she was just 3 months old. We applied for visitor's visa for her and then we all traveled. My school program was supposed to be for 2 years. And so you get the length of your education and same for your spouse. So my husband got open. Thank you, Simply Sam. Thank you, Lizzie. So because my school education was 2 years, my husband got 2 years of open work permit. And of course, my daughter got 2 years visitor's visa. So when we came here, Canada has this program. After school, you can apply for postgraduate work permit. And after your postgraduate work permit, you can apply for permanent residence paper. So it's actually procedures that you have to go through. If you miss one, you miss all. So just when I was about finishing my education, I was told that in order for me to get my permanent residence document, I had to write EILTS, or what we call IELTS test exams. Okay, so I completed school, I applied for postgraduate work permit, and unfortunately my program lasted for just a year, so I got only 1 year postgraduate work permit. But in the meantime, my husband still had his 2 years open work permit. Okay, so I got my 1 year postgraduate work permit, and immediately the 1 year is due. That's it. You don't have any document. You either go back home or you just gallivant around, without any purpose. And I didn't want that to happen. So while having my postgraduate work permit, I had to learn to write the IELTS, the IELT exams. And the IELTS you have to pass. Creative Kids Lab. Hi. Please, what's your name? It sounds familiar, but I'm not sure. Okay, so I had to write the IELTS and I had to pass. That's where I'm stressing. Because if I fail that exams, that means I wouldn't be able to apply for the postgraduate work permit, which means that is also going to affect my husband, because by then his papers would have expired and he will not be able to work. So I had just completed school. Oh, Nikki! Yes. So I was like, Creative Kids Lab sounds familiar. Hi, Nikki. Nikki also has a channel. So on Instagram, please check Creative Kids Lab. Thanks for joining. So I'm saying a little bit about my story, how I obtained my papers. So when I completed education, I applied for the postgraduate work permit. I got to work in some customer service company, and then I also got to work in a bank. And then during that time, I had to learn to pass these exams. The pass mark was 6 because I went through the provincial nominee. If you want to have details about Canada and everything, I would encourage you to follow Choco Millionaire. Millionaire, he has a lot of videos, but I'm just saying a little bit about mine. So I now have my postgraduate work permit. My husband had his open work permit. And of course, my daughter still had her visitor's visa. Now the whole house was dependent on me because I had to write the exams and I had to pass. And this is what happened. I was always on YouTube. I had some documents learning. And then I remember, sometimes when I got tired and maybe I decided to watch a movie or something, my husband would come, "Hey, mommy, you are not learning." "Mommy, you are not learning. Please go and learn. No, go and learn because you have to pass these exams. You can't afford to fail. Go and pass. Go and learn." And I'm like, "Hey, Masa, why?" "So because of these exams, I can't even watch. I can't do anything." He's like, "It's not like you can't do it. You need..." Yeah, good. Nikki also has videos on traveling to Canada, obtaining your papers and everything. So please check her on Instagram, Creative Kids Lab. She has a lot of videos and she has it on YouTube as well. So please follow her and you get details. So my husband started giving me pressure. Go and learn. Go and learn. You need to pass this exam. And sometimes it was a bit frustrating. I'm like, "Hey, Charlie, why? Cool down. I will not fail. I'll pass." Like, "Yeah, I know, but you have to put in a lot of pressure. You have to put in a lot of effort because if you fail, I'm not going to have my papers. What will be of us? We have to go back to Ghana, blah, 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 blah." But well, God being so good, I passed and I passed well. To God be the glory. And I say to God be the glory because if I hadn't passed, that would have been a different story. We would have either packed our bags and go, okay, so moving to Canada on YouTube. Okay, so Nikki has the link. I'll share it on Facebook as well. It's on Instagram. Moving to Canada. Moving to Canada Tales. She has all the details. Yeah, so Nikki, there was pressure on me. I had to pass, but I thank God I passed. And I'm grateful because like I know some people who had to write these exams for 4 times, 5 times. Like later on in life, I worked with this company and that's helped people to write this exam. Like people went there to write exams, and I met these students. Like they've written this exams for 5 times, 10 times. They still fail because it's very tricky. Okay, it's very tricky. If you fail, you have failed. But I passed, and so because I passed, we could now apply for provincial nominee. That one alone took about 6 months to hear from them before you get a response, and then you apply for your permanent residence, which took like a year or so before we could finally get our permanent residence paper. So as I'm talking to you, I'm not a citizen yet in Canada. I'm a proud Ghanaian. Maybe in the future I'm going to apply for a citizen, but I have my permanent residence. And that was a stress. That was a process. Get this document, write this exam, and everything is deadline. If you miss your deadline, you miss everything. Okay, so let's just assume that I didn't pass. It would have been another story, as I was saying. I had a friend that I think they missed a deadline or so. So after school, he missed a deadline. He couldn't apply for his papers on time. And that cost the whole family. His children couldn't go to school because they didn't have student visa. His wife couldn't work because her work permit has expired. You can imagine the stress on the family. My friend had to apply for school again. He had to go to school. He had gone to US to finish his schooling, but because in US he couldn't get his document, he moved to Canada. Now he came to Canada. He couldn't meet the deadline, and everything, he lost everything. He had to go to school again. You see the stress I'm talking to you about? He had to apply for school, go and just learn for learning's sake because he doesn't need education. But he had to go to school again just so that his child, his son, can get student visa and go to school, and his daughter will have permanent, or what you call a stay or work permit to stay. So he had to school again. I think in the middle of the school, by God's grace, they got their papers and he dropped out of school again. These are real stories I'm sharing with you. So this is the normal way. If you came through schooling, this is the procedure that you go through. It's very stressful. Thank God now we know about the express entry. So now people finish school, they just get work experience from Ghana or Nigeria, however, whatever they will do, and then they apply for a purpose. That one lasts, I think it's just about 3 months, and you are good to go. You have your document, you're good to go. The other most stressful part in obtaining papers when you travel outside is when you don't come here through school. So we know most people travel with visitor's visa. I have a lot of friends who tell me, Sarah, give me, how do they call it? Invite. Give me invite. I'm so sorry. In Canada, we don't do that. Like even in Canada, even applying for visitor's visa for your parents, you have to go through a lot. Like your parents must have be in a certain age bracket, and even the income level and all that. So it's not easy to be in Canada and just send out invites for people to come. If it was that easy, we would have given people a lot of invites to come. But it's not easy to do that. Yes, Nicola, it's not easy to do that. Even letting your sister visit you in Canada is difficult. They would say the person will not go back. So they won't give it to the person. The easiest way of getting visitor's visa to Canada is maybe through your spouse or through your parents. The excuse will be that they're coming to visit their grandchildren. But to just invite a friend over is very hard. But this is not so in US. In US, it's quite easy to send out invite for friends to come and visit and all that. So people get to travel to the US, to other places, Brazil, UK, through visitor's visa. And now when they go to the country, the whole plan in the first place was never to return, right? It was just a way of getting into the country. So when they get into the country, they don't want to return. Now the trouble is obtaining your permanent residence visa or document so that you can stay, okay, so that you can stay for good. Okay, Nicola is inviting people. Please invite people for me. Okay, so the whole stress in getting your permanent stay in whatever country you are in. And that is the trouble that I'm going to talk about today. So the easiest way, or the way that most people do, that is if you are not, or go through, that is if you are not using the school system, is marriage. I believe most people know, most people don't also know. But because this place is social media and a lot of people are here, we might have immigration officers and all that here. I don't want to go into details because I don't want to spoil some people's chances. I don't want to go into details. But all I'll say is that option of getting married to somebody who has their permanent residence so that you can, or citizenship, so that you can stay, is so tedious. It can be dangerous. It can be scary at times. So this is what happened. You find somebody who has, I said I'm not going to go into details, so I don't want to go into details. So the whole point is to marry somebody who has their permanent document or who has their citizenship document, so that when you get married to them, you can do your papers and also become a citizen. But people use this as a whole business, right? It's a whole business. I'm not trying to go into details, so please don't push me. It's a whole business, okay? But then some people also, they utilize the system to defraud people. They utilize the system to for their own personal gain. So let's say I come to Canada, I don't have my spouse here, I don't want to return back home, so I find somebody who has permanent residence, and then we marry, right? So that through that, I can obtain my papers. I can use our relationship to obtain my papers. I have to pay a lot of money to do that. But that is not even the stressful part. The stressful part is that most young people, young guys, young ladies, once they know that you are depending on them to get this document, they start making requests. And you, of course, you know the request I'm making. I'm going to say, sleep with me before I do it for you. It sounds bizarre, but that is what is happening. You pay them, you agree, we are just getting married for paper's sake. There's nothing going on. But then some people will keep pushing. If you don't sleep with me, if you don't have sex with me, I'm not going to, I'm not going to make this possible, or I'm not going to go through with this. That is after you have paid them. That is after you've made arrangements, you've done everything. I'm going to share about 3 stories of these situations, and they are real stories. I don't tell lies. I don't make up stories. These are real stories. So there was this lady who was in the United States. She was married back home. She's from Ghana. So she was married to a Ghanaian, but the husband was in Ghana, and she traveled to the United States, and she was working. Dr. Bila, good to see you. I'm talking about the wahala in obtaining papers when you travel outside. So she found somebody who was willing to marry her so that she can use that as a means of obtaining her documents. This guy charged her, huge sums of money. Thank you. Blessed evening, Dr. Beulah. We are talking about the wahala people go through just to obtain papers living outside. I know you are a testimony, and by God's grace, you got your papers. Oh, somebody is watching from South Africa. Hi, Isaac. I'm Sarah, so you are literally my son, okay? Please share the video. Please share the video to help somebody. And please say hi to people in South Africa. Hi. You have to invite me there so I come over, okay? Okay. All right. So where was I? Good. So the guy charged her huge sums of money. She paid. And then he kept demanding for things, meet me here, pay me this amount. So they make a due date. Maybe we have to go and see the lawyer on the 25th. By the 23rd, this guy will give an excuse. Sorry, blah, 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 blah. I can't come. Can you give me this amount of money so that, I can make it? They give him the money. He doesn't show up. They'll postpone the date for the marriage. All right, thank you, Isaac. You invite me. I'm hoping to come to South Africa one day. Okay. All right. So the guy kept making demands, and it got to a point. This lady was tired. She wanted to give up on this whole paper things, but her friend introduced her to this guy. Okay, that Obeyama, Obeyama, he would do it for you. Now I know people are from Sierra Leone, South Africa, Nigeria, so I can't speak a lot of Chi. But the friend kept saying he would do it for you. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, you want your papers, you want to be a citizen, you want to go for your husband. So just keep doing it. I mean, whatever he wants, just keep to him. Okay, so the lady kept paying him, doing whatever he want. And then the last straw was that they had, I think, 2 days to go to the court and sign documents and everything. And this guy told the lady that before I do this, I want you to meet me in a hotel. I want to have sex with you before I will go and do it. This is a woman who is married. Okay, she's married to a man in Ghana. She's just doing this so that she can obtain her papers. But this guy was insistent that she should sleep with him before he does this. Naturally, you would say no, right? It doesn't make sense. I'm giving you all the money. Why do you want to sleep with me knowing that I am somebody's wife? Some people are like such demons. You don't even know where they come from. And then she went to tell her friend that, hey, guy now also on your documents, mommy, no person the guy that you introduced me to help me with this papers, he want to sleep with me, and I don't think I'm comfortable doing that. As a bad friend as her friend was, the friend told her, and yes, oh, come on, it's nothing. I mean, it's not just one night. You can just, sleep with him. And, oh yeah, Gideon, it's serious. This is a true story. It happened in the US. The friend was like, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not just one night. Come on, do you want all the papers to just go wasted? Don't you want your spouse and your children to join you in US? Just go and do it. It's just one night. This lady said nothing to the husband. And that's where we'll be going there. She said nothing to the husband. According to her, or whatever, she just wanted to get the papers and bring the husband. She said nothing to the husband. Long story short, she went to meet a guy in a hotel. Because Oshe Sikana was saying when she looks at the amount of money she has wasted so far, she couldn't just let it go. And I can see Pastor Samuel. Oh, Jennifer, hi. Thanks for being here. So she met the guy in the hotel. And you would think it was just, normal sex. Let's have sex. We are done. And then I go and do it for you. That's what you think. Guess what this guy did? This guy insisted that he wants to have anal sex with this woman. Like, what kind of a demon is this? Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer, I need your input, so don't go. We'll be getting there. Nicola, I hope you are still there. I need your input. This guy insisted that on sleeping with this lady through the anus. I just want to say it as it is. Anal sex. He wants to have anal sex with her. And the lady was like, in the first place, I didn't want to have sex with you. Now I come here and you want to have anal sex with me. The guy raped her. He raped her mercilessly. And I think initially when they started, it was just like, okay, let's just do it. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we are done. According to sources, this guy went on and on for hours. How can you be sleeping with the lady, having anal sex with the lady for hours? This woman I'm talking to you about bled to death. She's dead as I'm talking to you. She died because the man had anal sex with her for hours, literally raping her. Ish. What kind of a demon is this? The guy killed the lady. Like, when I heard the story, I felt so sad. Like, it's just such a shame I don't know if it's a shame to hear that. Yes, Gideon, you're screaming. It's a shame to hear that, like, a married woman slept with another man and she died. She bled to death because the guy slept with her, like, through anal sex. Afterwards, the guy left. They found the lady dead in the hotel room. It was after her death that the husband got to know that this is what your wife was doing, or this is what your wife went to do. Yeah, Isaac, it's a pity. It was after her death that the husband got to know that this is what the wife was doing, just to get papers and bring him on board. But my issue is that, why didn't she tell the husband? I mean, you could tell your husband that, hey, you know, I'm trying to get papers for us. I'm trying to get my permanent resident papers so that I can help you come. But this is the condition. This guy wants to sleep with me. I don't think there's any reasonable husband who will say that, oh, because I want to travel, go and sleep with another man so that you can have your papers. The husband wouldn't have allowed her to do that. But I don't know. She trusted her friend. She trusted her friend and she didn't say anything to her husband. Now you are going for papers to bring your husband to US. You are dead. At the end of the day, you've wasted money. You've wasted your life. You've brought shame on yourself and your family. This is just one of the stories. It happens every time. People are so wicked. Like, if you are outside and you don't have any other option but to do this arranged marriage thing so that you can get your papers, I'm not here to criticize you. I'm not here to condemn you. In fact, I don't have the power to even do that. Because if I was in your shoes, I don't know what I would have done, right? So I'm not here to condemn you, but I'm saying that do the right thing. Don't become so desperate that you don't mind going to sleep with somebody just so that you can have your permanent residence. Approach you in heaven. I mean, I know living outside is great, the benefits, the opportunities, I know. But hey, you can't risk your life just because you want to obtain your papers. That's too costly. Like, when we heard the story, my husband and I, we were so sad. Like, imagine somebody sleeping with, like, you're not even a child, a matured woman, somebody sleeping with you, like, so much so that you die, you bleed to death. It's sad. And as I said, it's just one of the stories that have been happening. There are other people who take this as their business. So as I said, they charge you and they promise you that I'll do this for you. There's this young lady in Canada. She was just shot. Hot afternoon. She was shot. And we were all wondering, oh, who shot her? Blah, blah, blah. Only to realize that, or get to know that that's the business she does. But what she does that she takes your money, but she will not go through to do your papers for you. So she will charge you, maybe I'm going to charge you $30,000 and I would agree to marry you so that you can have your papers. But then when it's time for the marriage, let's go to the court and sign. She runs away with your money and then she begins to threaten you. I won't do it for you. You know, you can't take me to the court. And if you try to push, I'll report you to the police. So apparently she has been doing this to so many men. And then she got this Nigerian guy also, or Ghanaian guy. The guy was like, you are not going to go scot-free with my money. He shot her. Like, in the first place, if this business is not legit, it's not good. But you are doing it to help people. And now you are just escaping with their money. What I want us to look into today is that if you are living outside, or if you have your spouse living outside and your spouse told you that, hey, I want to get that this is the means, okay, to obtain my papers so that I can help you to come over. I need to marry somebody. I need to do this arranged marriage with somebody in order to get my papers. If your spouse told you this, would you allow them to do it or not? Please, Nicola, Jennifer, Isaac, tell me, Gideon. If you were in your home country, let's use Ghana for as a case study. You are living in Ghana and your spouse traveled outside. Your spouse is in Canada. Your spouse is in US, Germany, whatever. And your spouse tells you that in order for me to get my papers, I need to marry somebody. It's just on paper. But I need to go to court. Sometimes some of them even go to church. You know, it's like a whole wedding. The pastor will bless the marriage and everything. But they know that we are just getting married on paper. Okay, so if your spouse tells you that I need to get married to somebody just so I can obtain my papers, would you say yes or no? Please don't be quiet on me. Would you say yes, go ahead and do it? Or would you say no, don't do it? Yes, Shannon, Thanks for joining. Please talk to me. Talk to me. Dr. Bila, somebody say hell no. If he doesn't, or if she doesn't do that, she will not have her permanent residence, and she might have to come back home to square one probably. And you won't also have the opportunity to travel. So are you sure? Is it Christabel? Christball. Are you sure it's hell no? Jennifer, what do you think? Nicola, what do you think? Would you say yes, go ahead? Not on my... Elizabeth says not on my watch. Okay, you won't allow him to go and marry somebody. Anybody else? Somebody said... Okay, Isaka say, hi, good evening. This is the second time of meeting you live. God bless you with your wisdom. Thank you so much. And God bless you for joining. Somebody also says, hell no. Simply Sam says, Anka, come to Ghana and eat banku. Yes, for you. I know you don't like traveling, so I understand. You should come to Ghana and eat banku. Okay. Isaac says, I will never allow it at all. Better to wait until 5 years until she gets her own paper. Okay. That sounds interesting. So it looks like most people are saying no. I wish that's the case. Like, Jennifer, tell me something. Like anybody else. I wish that's the case. But, you know, let's look deeper into this. Gideon says, a married woman that's getting married to someone outside is an adultery. Whoa, yeah, I know. It says a married woman that's getting married to someone else outside is adultery. Because what God cannot do does not exist. So you are saying that instead of going to marry somebody else to get your papers, you should rather trust God. That sounds interesting. Yeah, I know. Like, I know. If I were you, I would have said no, because it's scary, right? Some of them come with conditions, okay? If you get married to this person, for some of them, you have to live together. So you can decide that, okay, be in your room, I'll be in my room, but then we are legally on paper married, but we are not actually married. But it's scary sometimes. So I don't know how many spouses will say, yes, go ahead and do it. So don't you think this was the reason why this woman did not tell the husband about whatever she was doing? Because she knows that probably if she tells her husband that I'm going to get married to this person, yeah, there's nothing prayer cannot do. It's true. It's the prayer can do all things. I know, I'm not disputing that. But sometimes when you're living outside here, it's like do or die. But yeah, I believe in trusting God and in praying about it. I won't feel comfortable. Imagine if I got married and my husband was in Ghana and I came here and I had to go to court. Like, my conscience doesn't set me right about all of this. Okay, please, I am not judging anybody. I'm not condemning anybody. No. Because these things have helped a lot of people. Like, I know friends personally who went through this. And because of this, they have their papers here. They brought their family and all that. So I'm not judging anybody. But I'm saying for me, my conscience will not permit me. Like, to know I'm married and to go and sign documents and everything with somebody else. And they will pronounce us as husband and wife. And I would make my vows and everything. It will be so hard for me. It will be so hard for me. But that is what is happening. So for the single people, sometimes it's easy for them because they're already not married, right? So they just go and say their vows, they bless them, they get their document. And then I think after some years, you can divorce and then go and marry. But by then, you have obtained your papers. This thing is so huge to talk about. We can't just break it. We can't talk about it holistically because a lot of factors go into play. But from what the responses I'm getting, most people will say no. Because it won't make sense that we are married and you are going to get married to somebody else just on paper. It just doesn't make sense. But that is what people are doing here. That is what is sustaining people here. So my encouragement is that if your spouse travels outside, please, the two of you should sit down and think through this. Is this something I want you to do? Do I want you to live outside for good? What will you do to obtain your papers? Some people travel outside and they become quiet. They don't say anything to their spouse. It's like, oh, let me do it my own way. Let me do it my own way. If I get it, fine. Then I can do. But your spouse will be in Ghana, oblivious of everything that is going on. They don't know what is going on. And you are here. Some people are, living in others' home. Like I had this friend. He came to school, but when he came, the scholarship he was supposed to get, I think somebody promised to sponsor him and everything. He got here, the person disappeared. Stop. He went through a lot of, even where to stay. He had to sleep in a hotel for about a month. Imagine paying hotel bills in Canada here. A day, sometimes a day is like $100. He had to stay in a hotel for about a month. Renting was a problem for him. And by God's grace, he found this woman. He found this woman who was living alone. Nice, gorgeous woman. And this woman told him that this man I'm talking to you about, he's a grown-up and matured man. He has elderly children in Ghana. His wife is in Ghana and everything. But because of difficulty in renting, he had to go and live with this woman. That was another story. He had to go and live in this woman's house. So initially, the woman was so nice. The woman was like, oh, I have a big house. The woman was also a Ghanaian. I have a big house. You can come and live in one house. I won't even take anything from you, So nice. But my friend had a sense that this woman might force me to do something. True to what he imagined. After living with the woman for about a month or so, the woman started making advances. And it makes sense. You are living in my house. You are not paying anything. Then you have to pay it another means, right? She started, sometimes walking almost naked. And then she would go to the bathroom. And this happened in Canada. And call my friend. Oh, mami. Bring me the towel. And so my friend will always call me, hey, Sarah, I had a dream. Initially, he told me that he had a dream that the lady was forcing him to have sex with her. And then he prayed about it. The next time the lady was, literally in his room naked, a whole lot. By God's grace, he got another apartment and he left. But if he had been, disadvantaged, if it wasn't for the part-time job he got and he had nowhere to go, he would have still continued living with this woman. And who knows what would happen? He will end up even marrying this woman and leave the wife back at home. There's so much that goes on when you travel. So if you're watching me and you are in your home country and you are so obsessed, I want to travel. Traveling is good. If you get the opportunity and you get the right means of traveling, is good. But please don't travel when you are not even sure of how you are going to obtain your papers. That's what I want to say. Like I know our neighbor in Ghana, he just went to, I don't know if those in Ghana will remember, there was this Brazil football match thing that happened, and most people could travel to go and watch football in Brazil. This man joined and went to Brazil and never came back. And now I don't know how he's surviving in Brazil. He went to Brazil just to watch a football match and never returned. I mean, people will say, hey, now what do a Brazil power back Ghana by? Oh, like what are you, like you go to Brazil and you want to come back to Ghana for what? But my point is that what papers is he going to use to stay in Brazil to even work? This thing might push you to do so many things that you will naturally not do. Traveling outside without proper documentation can mess up your life. That's what I'm trying to say, my dear brothers and sisters. Like, there was a story of another man in Canada here. He's a popular guy, so I don't want to mention his name. But I think he did, I don't know, Kululu, whatever. And he got his papers, he traveled to Canada. When he got to Canada, the cold, he had nowhere to sleep. He had made no accommodation arrangement, nothing. It's just, I've gotten my papers. I've gotten my visitor's visa. I'm traveling to Canada. You come here without knowing where to sleep. He came with a friend. They had to sleep in the cold outside for weeks with no food because they don't have any money. They just came with their papers. It just took the grace of God for them to meet other Ghanaians, and they made arrangement for them to go and sleep in it. Like the whole stress. Please, my dear young men and women, don't become so obsessed with traveling outside. If God gives you the opportunity to travel, hooray! If God gives you the opportunity, He will make provision for you. But if you push yourself and you get out here without proper documentation, without support, you will regret it. There was a story last year of two Ghanaians who walked from US to Canada. By the time they got to Canada, they had frostbite. Frostbite is so painful. You get it when you walk in the cold. Because apparently, because they were walking and it was so windy, the wind blew their gloves away. They got frostbite. As I'm talking to you now, they are amputated. Their hands and their feet. So literally, like, they are disabled. But they don't care. They came to Canada anyway, went to seek asylum. But I'm like, must you go through all this? Must you go through all this just because you want to live outside? Sleeping with people just because you want to have your document? Lying to yourself, lying to the state, lying to your spouse just because you want to have your papers? Please, let's be careful with this. And if your spouse is living outside, talk to them. Find out what they are doing. Find out what you're doing. Do you intend to live there for good? Or would you come back? Then if I asked that question, I think you were not there. I was asking that if you were living in Ghana and your spouse had traveled and he told you that I have to go and marry somebody just so I get my documents, would you allow them or not? Some people say that come to Ghana and come and eat banku. So that's the whole wahala in getting papers. I don't want to go into details because I don't want to bring up more such stories. But please, if you try your best and you're still not getting the papers the right way, somebody suggested pray about it. For all you know, maybe God doesn't want you to be here in the first place. Don't go through all the stress. Don't destroy your marriage because of this. Because if your wife is to hear that you have gone to marry somebody, even though it's just paper, just so you get your papers, it's going to be another way people do to get papers here, or even to get support from the government. Like I was told about this, and Banku kege soakings cry. Yeah, Jennifer said come together and eat soakings. I was going to tell you about another story, what some people are doing to get government support. Especially in Canada here, if you're a single parent, you get special support from the government. And I was shocked to hear that some married couples decide to divorce. They literally divorce just on paper, so that the wife can become a single mother and obtain support from the government. Like, this is insane. I know people go through a lot of difficulty living outside, but to intentionally go and divorce just so you get government support is just too much. It's just too much. Like, let me just explain how it works. So let's say I'm married, right? I'm married, I have 2 children, but I find that government is giving support for to single mothers. So if you are married, okay, as a married couple, you will get just a little of the government support for your children based on your income and everything. So let's say for my 2 kids, I can be getting like $200 every month. So let's say $400. But if you're a single mother taking care of 2 children, you might be getting $1,000 or $1,005 every month. So some spouses will sit down and say, Charlie, you know what? Why don't we go to court and divorce? Okay, but we know we are not divorced. On paper, we are divorced. And then you submit your document and everything and say that you're a single mother with 2 children. I was like, what? But this is what people are doing. So they go to court, they divorce on paper, but then they'll still be living together. And then the wife will now apply for her papers and everything as a single mother, so that she can get more support from the government. But do you know what most of the husbands do? After you've gone to the courts to sign that you have divorced, they go and find another woman. So there was a story of this woman in Canada here. She decided to do this with her spouse. They went on paper that they are divorced, but they were still living together. Before she knew, the man was not coming home, because sometimes the government people will come around to come and check where you live and all that. So when they come and they realize that you're still living with the man, they will know you're not divorced, right? So when it happens like that, the man has to move out, go and stay at a certain place. After they do the check and everything, he will come home. This man started taking advantage of this. The day he knows that they will be coming home, he will leave home and go and sleep somewhere else. Apparently, he had found a girlfriend. And he was sleeping with this girlfriend. So later on, the wife found out that the man was seeing another woman. And then she tried to, threaten him and all that. Do you know what the man told her? But are we not divorced? We are divorced on paper, so we are divorced. You have no legal right on me. Yeah, all the stress. And now, you, the woman, who are you going to talk to? Because yes, on paper, you are divorced. And that is what the guy used. He said, we are divorced, so you can't stress me. My dears, please. We know that living outside is not easy. But let us not compromise. Let us not reduce our integrity to just do anything for anything's sake, just because we want to make it outside here. And even sometimes the most annoying part is that you'll be struggling out here, but then you pretend and you show to your friends outside as if everything is, so glamorous and you are enjoying life out here. Hey, some people are really suffering out here. You go to the grocery shop, people are begging for food. But these same people will meet their family members and then they want to flaunt, to tell them that I'm living outside. And sometimes it puts unnecessary stress on all of us. Like some friends will see me and they think, oh, Sarah is in Canada. Life is good for her. Oh, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. And I'm like, Charlie, it's not as easy as you think. It's not as easy as you think. So let's just live wisely. Let's live wisely if we are out here. I'm going to end with the last story of what happened to my friend. So he also came to US on a visitor's visa. And then after, I think he got to work. They say fake it till you make it. Lizzie, you don't have to. Somebody is saying that you have to fake it until you make it. They say you should fake. No, but there's no point in faking life. Like if I fake to people that I am rich and life is all wonderful living outside, I just stress myself because then I'm putting pressure on myself. Like people will call you and think that you've made it. Somebody called me. I want a phone. I want a car. Even by then, I didn't have a car living outside. And somebody is calling me, I want a car. Next week, I will be talking about sending support home, like supporting family. If you're a couple living outside, supporting your family. Because sometimes the family members think, oh, they are living outside. Oh, they have all what it takes, because their friends are sending dollars. They think everybody has made it. So I don't think you have to fake it. Just live a real life so that people will know that, Masa, it's not as easy as people think. I've been sharing my story of how life was when we first came here, even as a couple. It's not as easy as people think. I want to end with my friend's story. So he came to US on visitor's visa. I think school or visitor's visa, he got a document and his papers expired. By then he was dating a white girl, and the girl, I think she's from Italy or so. She had to travel back to her country. And I think, what's his name? Donald Trump's stress and everything, they didn't allow her to come back to the country. So literally that relationship just broke apart because the lady couldn't come back for them to continue their relationship. My friend was so stressed, like he didn't know what to do. Like, this is the lady I was dating, hoping to get married and possibly have my papers and everything. Now she's no more. So out of the stress, he was also kicked out of his house because he didn't have a job and everything. He met this white lady who was so nice to him. This lady accommodated him in his house. And this happens a lot out here. You don't have a place to sleep. You don't have money to rent. So you can find somebody who would ask you to come and patch them or live in their house for you. That is where the problem is. Especially a man and a woman. Body no be firewood. So just imagine me, nice girl like me. If you think I'm not a nice girl, that's your problem. But just imagine me. Let's say I'm a single lady, okay? and I have rented a 2-bedroom house. I live alone. And I go outside, I see this young man who doesn't have anywhere to sleep. I mean, because I have a good heart, I would definitely invite the person to come and live in my house as a goodwill, not because I necessarily want to do anything with him. But when you see somebody in the cold, you want to help the person, right? And then I invite this young man into my home. He begins to stay with me, living separate. Before you know, because people have lost moral integrity, and because of proximity, you guys are living together. Before you know, you guys are sleeping. God forbid, I don't think I would do that. But I can't trust myself too, right? If you are living with a young man, you are single, he's also single, he's living in your house every day, cobra, you see each other. Before you know, you people will be in bed, especially when it gets very cold out here. And this is what is happening. So imagine if that young man I'm bringing to my home is married. By the time he knows, he will be doing something with me. Or maybe I'm already married, but I see somebody on the street and I say, I want to help this person. Come and live in my home. If I don't take care, I might be breaking my home. These are all the stress people go through living outside. It's the stress people go through. So if your spouse is outside and you are yeah, I'm speaking reality, Gideon. This is the truth. This is what is happening. So let me also throw another question to you. Simply, Lizzie, Simply Sam, Jennifer, Gideon, I'm going to ask you a question. Oh, Lydia has come. Lydia, today you have to comment. I have a question for you. So let's say your spouse travels and he tells you that, hey, life is so difficult. I can't even pay my rent. I'm living on the street. But I have found this nice woman who wants to accommodate me in her house. She lives alone in this big apartment and she wants to give me 1 bedroom for me to stay there until I get a job or get back on my feet. If your spouse calls you to tell you this, what would you do? Would you tell them that, no, don't go and live with her? Or would you allow them to go and stay there? In fact, the truth is that before they even tell you, they might be living with the person already because they can't live in the cold. What would you do? Gideon, Simply Sam, tell me something. Lydia, please tell me something. You are in Ghana. Your spouse is in Canada. And your spouse tells you that things are not going on well. I'm not able to pay my rent. I'm living on the street. Run to Ghana. Simply Sam, you should run to Ghana. Okay, that's your response. Good. Please. Somebody said the question is bigger than WAEC. Yeah, I know, but these are the realities we have to face. When one spouse travels outside, these are the realities. Do you want him to stay in the cold? Memperov. Hey, but Lizzie, doesn't mean that living outside is not good. Living outside is good, but you just have to make sure you get the right document. Pearl says, after all these examples, dear, come to Ghana sharp. I know. But what if he doesn't even have money to buy his ticket? He doesn't even have money to buy tickets. He doesn't even have money to feed himself. He is living on the street and he has met this young lady who has this big apartment. And this young lady has offered for him to come and stay in his house until he gets a job. What would you tell your spouse? Hey, I know some people will start speaking in tongues. And then the sad thing will be that he sends you the picture of the girl and she's as beautiful as me. Please talk to me. Somebody says you tell the spouse to come to Ghana straight. Are you going to buy him tickets to come to Ghana? And Gideon says this question is bigger than white. Lydia, please, what do you think? What will you do? Jennifer says that the fact that you have gotten to the stage where you have to live on the street, then Abroche is not for him. So he should just return. I feel like speaking in tongues. That is what Jennifer is saying. Jennifer, that's a good point. Somebody says necessity has to set in. So Gideon, what is that necessity? Gideon, what is that necessity? So most people are saying that if it has gotten to the point where you have to live on the street, then you better come back to home. But my question is, what if he doesn't have money to buy his ticket? You know, we are discussing this, we are laughing, but this is the truth. This is the truth. That's why I'm always saying, if you get married and your spouse is traveling outside, it's a different ball game. Okay, Lydia says, like you said, he's already living with her. You can either accept it that he may end up with her, or you can pretend all is well and live your life in Ghana. Yes. Oh, Lydia, Lydia is like, you are telling the truth. You are being real. Just like Jennifer and Simple Sam and Pearl, Gideon is saying it. Lydia is saying that, well, probably he's already living with her. So you either pray that nothing happens, that God will help him to get back on his feet, or you just pretend in Ghana that everything is well. But it's not easy to pretend, knowing that your husband is living with another woman. Like, this is just what happened to my friend. That's what happened to him. He had to live in that woman's house. But I can't tell exactly what happened. I'm just hoping he didn't do anything with the woman. But from what he was telling me, it would take only grace. So for most people, it's like, come back to Ghana. But for others, it's like, hey, Masa, somebody says, I'm new here. Oh, you are new. Okay, welcome here. We are talking about marriage outside. We're talking about the stress in getting papers. And I just gave an example. Your husband is living outside. It has gotten to a point where he's even living on the street, but somebody has offered for him to stay with them. Would you accept it or not? So when we weigh these things, we realize that a lot goes on when you're living outside. So if you have a boyfriend, I want to wrap up. If you have a boyfriend and the boyfriend is going to travel outside, please, it's 2-2. It's either he will come back and marry you or he will not come back. Even if he will come back and marry you, you want to find out, how was life for that person when they were living outside? Were they having proper documentation? Did they have a good accommodation? Or did they have to pretend and live with somebody? Like, I had a friend of mine. That's why, I think this thing just came in. If you're a young lady, you are living in your home country, don't be in a hurry to date somebody who lives outside. Please, my young ladies, listen to me. Sometimes my husband is like, are you sure people are, when they were, is like, are you sure that these young ladies, they've been listening to what you're saying and doing? But I believe 1 or 2 people listen to me. Okay, Jennifer says that, I think for a woman to accept such compromise, then the woman might not be doing well back home herself. So it's about time we ladies get to the point where we can step in and make tough decisions for the family. Thank you, Jennifer. So Jennifer is saying that if you are the wife living back home and your husband is outside and he is now living on the street and he's forced to go and live with somebody else, and you, the woman, cannot do anything about it. You are not financially sound to support. Because if you have the money, you say, hey, Masa, I bought the tickets for you, come back home. But if you don't have the money, you have no choice. So Jennifer is saying that it's about time. It's about time we ladies work hard. We have to step in and make tough decisions for the family. You can't just fold your arms and leave everything for your husband. And for those husbands who have been telling your wife, oh, be a housewife, you might never know when you'll be in trouble that you will need help. So if you are the woman, you are financially stable, you can support your spouses. Right? You can support your spouse. They don't have to go through this trauma. They don't have to go through this situation where they are forced to do something against their will. But then the other thing is that, what if you were a single guy? So let's put the spouse's situation aside. You are a single guy. I know you will not think twice. Isaac, Gideon, you are a single guy. You have nowhere to sleep. You've met this nice lady. She said, come and share my apartment with me. Will you go or not? Please don't hide. I know you will go. You're a single man. You're a single woman. I know you will go. But the problem is when you go and live with them. So I was telling you the story of my friend. So the girlfriend couldn't come back. He lost his job. And this white lady offered to help him. Okay, Lydia says that the truth is that very few people will travel outside the country and return home because they are facing financial difficulties. They will do everything to survive. That's the truth. Very few people will travel. Hey, so when I see a very few people will travel outside and say, because of financial trouble, I'm returning home. They will do everything it takes to stay here. I'm telling you. They will do everything, whether it means going to sleep in somebody's house, whether it means going to marry somebody, whatever it takes. Survivor, they will survive. Some men come back home saying, no, then they would rather sleep in the cold than go back home. It's sad, but that's the reality. And Jennifer says their matter is different. If the woman wants to use you for juju, then just go. Oh, Jennifer, so you mean the single women or the single men and women? That's interesting. Gideon says that I will go before time. But then when you go, that's the trouble. When you go and live with this person. I was telling you about my friend. So he lost his job, got this nice lady who decided to help him. So they were living together and one thing led to the other, as we should expect. Because by then he has lost his girlfriend, he was sad, he has lost his job. And I was shocked to know that men become very vulnerable to sex when they are in trouble. How many of you know that? When a guy is going through some stress, they are very vulnerable to have sex. Like, I never knew. Like, I was having this discussion with my husband. I'm like, why is it that when a man is going through some troubles, then they want to have sex? Like, a man is so vulnerable for temptation, for everything when they are going through stress. Because I don't know, I think the sex or when they release, it takes away the stress. So you realize that in movies and in real life, if a man's wife is stressing him, he can't think properly, it's so easy for another woman to get down. Because immediately another woman decides to support them, show them love. Oh, Ebefa. The man will have sex with you before he will even come to his senses that, oh, I shouldn't do this. So men, if you don't know, I'm telling you, but I believe most of you know, if you are going through stress, please stay away from women. Because you might end up getting people pregnant without even knowing. This is what happened to my friend. And I'm sharing his story. When he lived with this lady, going through all the stress and everything, he was like, Sarah, meti menino, na niebe fano nafa. He started sleeping with this woman, because they were living together, right? And then before he knew, the lady was pregnant. He never thought of marrying her. He didn't even love her or anything. It was just because of his situation and staying with her. He ended up having affairs and she got pregnant. So when my friend realized that this lady was pregnant, by then he was single. When he realized this lady was pregnant, he's a good guy. He's a Christian. And please don't judge him. Don't judge him. I didn't judge him. I know he didn't do all. He admits that I shouldn't have slept with her in the first place. But he's man. And he went through the situation. And what happened. So to make that mistake right, he decided to marry this white lady. This is a true story that happened in the US, my friend. He decided to marry this white lady. Okay, they got married. They have, as I'm talking to you, they have 3 children. But this is the problem. As I'm also talking to you right now, they are divorced. Why? I never knew he was divorced. It was later, I'm like, hey, how is home? How are the children? And then he started telling me all this. But I wanted to share for us to get something. So as Gideon was saying, I will go there before it's time. But the problem is when you get there. He never wanted to marry her. But he married her because he got her pregnant. And he's a responsible guy. The lady has been good to him. He decided to marry. But what happened was that because this white lady knew that this guy didn't love me, he's marrying me because he's doing me a favor or because he just wants to be responsible, she never believed my friend. Even when my friend got to a point where he's like, I'm marrying you. I think you're a good woman. You've been nice to me. I want to marry you. I want us to make a family. This white lady never believed him. She always felt that, oh, you were just using me, okay, for your advantage. You were just using me because, you were just using me because because you were in this trouble, because you didn't have documents, because you didn't have a place. You're just taking advantage of me. And according to my friend, after like 5 years of married, he kept always have to let this woman know that I married you because I love you. I mean, forget about what happened. Forget that I was in a bad situation or whatever. Now we are married. Let's focus on the marriage. This white lady never believed him. Accusing him here and there, always making my friend feel bad, always threatening my friend. At the end of the day, they had to divorce. But then they are divorcing with 3 children. Beautiful children. And my point is that if only he had not slept with her, all these things would not have happened. If only he had not gone to her house to stay there, all these things would not have happened. But he didn't have any choice. At that point, he didn't have any choice. He had to go and live there. If only the white woman had also believed him that, okay, well, what happened, now we are married, let's move on. All these things would not have happened. So you see, I can go on with so many stories, but what I'm trying to let you know that before you leave your home country to travel, please, also when I see Bibiso, you have to know what you are getting into, and you have to be ready for what is out next. And if your spouse is leaving you to travel, you either pray that things go on well, they get their documents and you come, or you start assuming that the marriage is over or the relationship is over. I'm sorry to say this, but this is the reality. So if you know your husband is going to travel, if you know your wife is traveling, is she traveling for school purposes? Are they traveling for work purposes? Or are they just traveling for traveling's sake to seek greener pastures? If they are just going to travel for travel's sake to seek greener pastures, and also you really have to pray for them so that things will go on well. And if they go and things are not going on well, please encourage them to come back home. Encourage them to come back home. Some people feel that when they travel and they had to return back home without all these luxurious cars, without, having substantial things, they have failed in life. You have not failed in life. The Bible says that God determined our specific destination. God knows whether you're supposed to be in Ghana or you're supposed to travel. And if it is His will that you travel, I can assure you that He will help you. But if you go outside of God's will to make your own plans, you might find yourself in such a messy life that sometimes you wouldn't even know how to come out of it. And for those of you who are also living outside, please stop bragging and stop making our brothers and sisters who are living in their home country as if they have done anything wrong, as if their life is not going to amount to anything. Let's stop doing that. Because for all you know, if you are to come and tell them your story, they won't even think of traveling. I don't even want to go to our friends who travel to the Middle East and other places. That place is worse. I believe you have seen the videos and everything. And the sad thing is that when you get to this Middle East, Kuwait and Cuba and all these places, they take your papers, they take your passport. You don't have any, you become like a property to them. We see and hear all these stories, yet people are always moving to these places, and most of them are dying, but some of them are also making it. It's all about, is this the will of God for me? I just want to end. I don't want to go over and over. Today we are just talking about the wahala in obtaining documents, and I'm saying that in all this you have to ask yourself, is this the will of God for me? Does God really want me to do this? I have an auntie who has been in the US for years, but she still doesn't feel comfortable to go and get married to somebody to get papers. So she's been there for years and she still doesn't have her papers. Even because of that, she's not able to come back home because she doesn't have her documents. And if she travels back to Ghana, she might never go back. But all these years, it's been hard for her. It's been hard for her to be in US without any documentation. And you have to be working in other people's name and all that. But her conviction is that she doesn't feel comfortable going to make vows and all that. Please, arbitrary is not heaven. It's a good opportunity. But if you have to let down your integrity, if you have to let down everything, just so you can get to stay here. If you know what you are doing is not going to please God, please think twice. Remember your family back home. I know you are doing this to help your family back home. I know. Like, I talk to people and it's like living outside is just because they want to make it and help their family. I know. By the end of the day, how is it helping you? Is God helping you to obtain your papers and everything? Or are you just living a stressful life out here? Whatever be the case, let's trust God. He will see us through. This is my word of encouragement to you. Thank you, Gideon, too. This is my word of encouragement to you. If you are living outside and you are struggling to obtain papers or whatever you're doing, just trust God. He will help you. He knows your heart. He will help you. But please don't go outside the box. Don't be like our dear sister who died just because the guy was insisting she goes to have sex with him. In the first place, it wasn't pleasing to the Lord. And in the second place, she lost her life. Let us not put ourselves in that. And I believe that as we trust God in all that we do, He is going to help us. And if your desire is to help your spouse to come and join you, they will come. And if you are outside, if you are in your home country and your spouse is living outside, please stop giving them pressure. Okay? Because the stress they're already going through here is too much. So if you're also in Ghana, you're always pressuring them. Like maybe your spouse came here 2 years ago and you expect them to come back home and visit you every 6 months. You are not being realistic. You are not being realistic, because that ticket that he or she will be using to come back home every 6 months, they could be sending the money to help you. I know you want to see them, but let us be, what do I say? let us be merciful to our spouses who live outside. Because working in the snow, some are working in factories. I told you about my husband, as when he had to be cleaning theaters and all that. So imagine if I was living in Ghana by then. He goes to these theaters to clean up all this popcorn machines and everything. And imagine I keep calling and send money and come and visit and come and do this. I'm just giving him unnecessary stress. If they get to a point where they realize that Abrochena and Giomwa, they will come home. Or you can encourage them to come home. But if they are trying their best to make it out here, stop giving them pressure. You know, sometimes some spouses will give couples will give their spouses so much pressure out here. Before you know, he finds another woman. And now you realize that it was your fault. They need that peace of mind to work and come and help you. You are always calling them, suspecting them. And I'm on any trap channel. And where are you? And what are you doing? And blah, blah, blah. And who are you living with? Let them be sincere to you. How is life where you are? How is life where you are? Is it helping you or not? If it is not helping you, come back home. Let's trust God. But if it is helping you, may God help you so that you can also come back for me. I know I can go on and on and on and on. But let me stress this to the young ladies. Some of you are in a hurry to date people who are living outside. Be careful. Not all that glitters is gold. My friend dated a guy who was in US. I mean, one name Peboga. I remember those days in Ghana. It's like, oh, and I'm talking to this person, and this person had sent me dollars, and then it was nice to be in Ghana for your boyfriend to be sending you dollars. But apparently, this guy was sleeping with a woman in US. I don't know whether it was this document thing or whatever, but he was having something to do with this woman. Later on, he married a lady in US. You know, so imagine if my friend had to pray for God to reveal to her that this guy living in US had another girlfriend. He was actually living with a woman. So you are in Ghana and you are in a hurry, always on Facebook looking for buggers. You are just going to stress your life. That bugger will come back, just come and sleep with you and go back. Or perhaps he already has somebody outside. If you have a boyfriend in Ghana and you guys are doing, managing things, so be appreciative of it. Don't be in a hurry to leave your boyfriend, your fiancé, just because a blogger or somebody in US says they are interested in you. It just doesn't make sense. Do you know what they are doing in US to make it? Oh, you are interested and I also want to travel. And then you leave that treasure of a man or a woman that God has blessed you with in Ghana just because you have found a burger. I can go on and on. But I pray that wherever you are in the stage of your life, whether in your home country, whether you've traveled outside, whatever you might be going through, may the Lord help you. May the Lord help you in everything. If you are seeking papers, may God help you to obtain your papers in the right way. And may you find favors in the sight of these immigration officers. I know they can be stressful. Maybe one day I'll do a video with Jennifer, and Jennifer will tell us the stress she went through to get her papers to even travel outside. But God was good to her, and she made it. And if you are thinking of traveling outside, you can also get in touch with me. We can talk about it. We'll find ways and means that you can travel outside. God bless you for making time to watch me. And God bless your work, whatever you're doing. And may you prosper in everything you do. Please share this video to encourage somebody, to also let somebody know the stress, the wahala, the troubles that is out there. So that if they are traveling, they will make their homework well. They will do their homework well before they travel. Thank you so much. It's Sarah here, and this was the words of wisdom. Bye.